Right. I call the Honourable Member Raymond Ho. Ni hao.
Ni hao. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The national member who just resumed her seat shouldn't be shocked because I listed a number of reasons, but largely in respect of constitutional concerns as to why Labour had no other option but to oppose this bill. As the Honourable Lian Dazelle just said, it's about process, it's about the core values, how Parliament operates. And members opposite simply cannot claim the high moral grounds in shutting down democratic process. Having said that, it is fitting for me to touch upon some aspects of this bill at its second reading. Part 1 enables the census to take place in March 2013. So the bill amends Section 23 by replacing the word 1976 with 2013. This was the preferred option recommended by Statistics New Zealand. Another option was to go to 10 yearly censuses, as in the US and other OECD countries, starting in 2013. But this option was rejected by the government. Part 2 amends the Statutes Drafting and Compilation Act 1920 to allow the Chief Parliamentary Counsel to delegate his or her functions, responsibilities and duties and powers. So Part 2, therefore, creates delegation powers simply similar to Section 13 of the Clerk of the House of Representatives Act 1988. Given the Minister believes this bill is so important, has to be rushed through and the urgency, it's very important for us to look at other aspects. Some developed countries have given up on censuses, including the Netherlands. The logic for this is that censuses are expensive, not comprehensive, and slow to produce data, whereas surveys, for instance, can produce just as useful data at a lower cost and in a much tighter time frame. Therefore, as my colleagues Trevor Mallett and Charles Travell said earlier, a select committee was warranted. There are some further points of interest I wish to share with the members and the general public who are watching this high-rating parliamentary TV. I must thank our wonderful parliamentary library and, in particular, Lee Taylor, who provided us with so valuable and thoughtful advice. The first census in New Zealand was carried out in 1851. And it was not until 100 years later, that's in 1951, that Maori were given the same census questionnaires as the rest of the population. Then in 1996, the option of completing the form in Maori or English was introduced. There have been only 3 occasions when the census was not held as scheduled. In 1931, the census was abandoned because of the Depression, and in 1941, it was postponed because of the Second World War, and again this year because of the impact of the 22nd February Christchurch earthquake. Mr. Speaker, there are some debates in terms of census period. Among OECD countries, there are 6 countries, including New Zealand and Australia, that hold census every 5 years. There are 10 countries that hold census every 10 years. So there are valid reasons for us to consider. There are valid reasons for us to consider our statutory arrangements. France is an exception. It holds partial census each year, and the results published as average over 5 years. Of course, there are pros and cons. According to a population expert from Waikato University, moving to a 10-year census could make trans-Tasman comparisons tricky and create problems for historians. And the strongest argument against the census every 5 years is the huge cost. The budget for the 2011 census was nearly $90 million, which is approximately equal to Statistics New Zealand's annual budget, of course excluding the census. Without a 5-year census, there would be more resources available to collect all the other types of data that are relevant to our work and life. So Mr. Andrew Whiteford, an analyst originally from South Africa, asked if we are able to use a 10% sample of households. Why bother collecting data from every single household? And why not just collect information from every 10th or every 100th household? On that note, I wish the minister responsible for this bill will take as many calls as possible to enlighten us on those issues. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The question. I call the honourable member